Good morning, learners. Welcome to today's lesson. Once again, we are going through the model test paper, correcting and explaining the most failed questions. And there are a number of them. That is an indication that you've forgotten a lot of concepts. Please pay attention. Today, we are tackling question 6, question 10, question 12, question 13, 14, and 15. Let us go straight to question 1. Convert 5/8 into a decimal number. And here we are going to use long division. This is like saying 5 divided by 8. It's like saying 5 divided by 8. And this is what you're going to do. 5 inside and 8 outside. Now, 5 is smaller than 8, and so it cannot be divided. 8 cannot be divided by 5. So what do we say? It goes into 5 0 times. 0 times 8, remember it's 0 times 8 gives us 0. And so we subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. We will add a 0 there to call it 50. And as we add a 0 there, we put a decimal point over there. And so 50 divided by 8, again 50 is not a multiple of 8. And so we select the closest multiple of 8, that is less than 50. And that is 48, boys and girls. What is 48 divided by 8? That is 6. I hope you are listening there at home. Now, we subtract. Because 8 times 6, we get 48. We subtract 50 minus 8. 50 minus 8, we borrow 1 from 5, we remain with 4, and that one we bring it here. 10 minus 8, 10 minus 8 is 2. Okay? Now we add 0. Because already we are in the decimal, we don't need to put another decimal there. And so 20 divided by 8, 20 is not a multiple of 8. And so we choose the closest multiple of 8, that is less than 20. And that is 16. That is 16. Now, what number do we multiply by 8 to get 16? Learners, it is 2. What is 2 times 8? 2 times 8 gives us 16. So we subtract 16 from 20. We borrow 1 from 2 and remain with 1. And bring that one here and call that number 10. What is 10? Subtract 6. Boys and girls, it is 4. We will add a 0 there and call it 40. Clearly, 40 is a multiple of 8 because of 5. Because of 5. And what is 8 multiplied by 5? We will get 40. Then we subtract. We will get 0, 0. So the number is complete. Now what did we get as the answer up there? Here, this is where we look for the answer. So the answer is 0.625. We check from the choices. Choice C is the correct answer. I hope you have followed that. Those who failed, you can try many other fractions, converting them into decimals. Correct. Let's go to question number 10. Question number 10. What is the circumference of the circle below? This is the circle. we use a formula. The formula of finding circumference of a circle, we say circumference is equals to pi multiplied by diameter. Now I want us to focus here. Do we have diameter? No, we have radius. And so we must find the diameter by multiplying the radius by 2. Here the radius is 28. When we multiply by 2, we will get 56 centimeters. That is the diameter. Now, in our calculation, we will use the diameter. And so we will come here and say circumference is equal to 22 over 7. That is the pi. We are told to use pi as 22 over 7. Multiplied by the diameter 56. Multiplied by the diameter 56. Now we can simplify by cancelling. By 7, 1. 56 divided by 7 is 8. 56 divided by 7 is 8. When we multiply 22 by 8, we will get 176 centimeters. And that is the circumference. We come and check it on the multiple choices. And our answer is choice B. Our answer is choice B. I hope you're following attentively. Please, boys and girls, you can try again some more sums asking for circumference. Now, let's come to question number 12. And before we go to question number 12, I want you to note that the circumference, the formula was pi multiplied by diameter. Yet we are given radius in the diagram. And so we must find the diameter by multiplying the radius by 2. And then our diameter is 56 centimeters. And that's what we needed to use there. There is a way of finding it using the radius, but I didn't want to confuse you. So let us stick to that. Let's come to question number 12. Arrange the following fractions from the largest to the smallest. We are going to use the Lcm method. Lcm method. Right? And so we find the LCM of the numbers 8, 5, 2, and 3. And what is their name? Learner, their name is the denominator. So you find the LCM of the denominators, which are 8, 5, 2, and 3. We are finding their LCM. We are finding their LCM. We are going to use the smallest factor, which is 2. 2 is the smallest factor. 8 divided by 2, boys and girls, is 4. 5 divided by 2 is 5, because 5 is not a multiple of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 3 divided by 2 is 3, because it's not a multiple of 2. I hope you're following. So many of you have forgotten the LCM. Now, again, we use 2 because we still have a multiple of 2 there, which is 4 divided by 2. It is 2. 5 remains, 1 remains, and 3 remains. Again, we use 2 because we still have 2 as its own multiple. Its own multiple. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 5 remains, 1 remains, and 3 remains. Now, we go to the next factor. Next smallest factor is 3. 1, 5 is not a multiple of 3, so it remains 1, then by 3, 1. Then the last factor here is 5. The last factor here is 5. Please arrange your work neatly. Use a ruler for long straight lines. By 1, 1, 1, and 1. We have finished. Then we multiply. LCM now here will be 2 multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 3, and multiplied by 5. Now, when we multiply 2 by 2, girls and boys, we get 4. 4 multiplied by 2, we get 8. 8 multiplied by 3, we get 24. 24 multiplied by 5, we get 120. So the LCM is 120. Now, we have the LCM now. What do we do with the LCM? We put it as the main denominator. As the main denominator. The main denominator is 120. That's the LCM. Now, what do we do with it as a main denominator? Each of the fractions. So we take the first fraction, 3 over 8, and multiply by our main denominator. Yes? By 8, 1, because of 8, remainder 4 into 45. So that is 3 multiplied by 15, that gives us 45. That one tells us that the value of 3 over 8 is 45. We go to the next fraction, that is 4 over 5, and do the same. By 5, 1, by 5, 2, because of 10, I mean that 2 into 20, and that is 4. 4 multiplied by 24 is 96. That is 96. So the value of 4 over 5 is 96. We go to the next fraction, that's a half. A half of 120, boys and girls, that is 60. So the value of a half is half here. The value of a half is 60. We are left with one fraction. And I'm going to do it from here. Let me do it from here. 2 over 3 of 120. 2 over 3 of 120. By 3, 1, by 3, 40. 40 times 2 is 80. So the value of 2 over 3 is 80. Now, following the values given there, now we know the strength of each fraction. How big each fraction depends on these numbers above here. We are told to arrange from the largest to the smallest. So the largest fraction is represented by 96, and that is 4 over 5. Now the second largest must be represented by 80, and that is 2 over 3. And the third largest is represented by 60, and that's a half. And the smallest obviously is represented by 45, and that is 3 over 8. So the arrangement from the largest to the smallest is that way. Let's look for the right answer from the choices. And I can see it already. That is A. That is A. That's how we do it. There are other methods of of finding the largest fraction using percentage or decimals. But we choose LCM because it sounds the easiest. You can resonate with it. Now let's go to question 13 quickly. Now, boys and girls, they ask, what is 15 times 2? This one, 15, not times 2, 15 squared. Now 15 squared means 15 multiplied by 15. And so we can use the long method, 15 multiplied by 15. 5 times 5 is 25. We carry 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2, 7. 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 1 is 1. Then we add 5, 2, carry 1, 2. So the answer here is 225. However, boys and girls, such sums you need not to calculate. You need to already have mastered the squares of numbers from 1 to 20. It's so easy. You could just practice it. Yeah? The first 20 squares, perfect squares. Yeah? When I mention 1, you mention the square. 1, the square of 1 is 1. 2, the square of 2 is 4. 3, the square of 3 is 9. 4, the square of 4 is 16. 5, the square of 5 is 25. 6, the square of 6 is 36. 7, the square of 7 is 49. 8, the square of 8 is 64. 9, the square of 9 is 81. 10, the square of 10 is 100. 11, the square of 11 is 121. 12, the square of 12 is 144. 13, the square of 13 is 169. And so forth. The square of 14 is 196. You can see the square of 15, which is 225. And so forth and so on. You need to reach to the square of 20, that is 400. And you memorize them. Such sums you don't waste time calculating. They should be in your head and you get them right. Let us go to question number 14. Solve for y. That's algebra. Okay. We want to find the value of y. And the question is that what we do, we look at the freestanding number. Why do I call 5 the freestanding number? Because 5 doesn't have an unknown number. It is on its own. It's complete on its own. You can see 2 has a y and a half has a y. But 5 doesn't have a letter on it. So it's not a coefficient. And so we transfer it to the other side. It's a number with a plus. It's an integer, a positive integer. We take the other side. We subtract 5 and we remain with 5. And so we say 2y plus a half y is equals to 5. There are many ways of doing this, but I want to do it at your level. When you add two groups of y to a half y, we have 2 and a half. 2 and a half y being equal to 5. If we change 2 and a half into improper fraction, we get 3 over 2y, which gives us 5. Now, the coefficient or the number accompanying the unknown is a fraction. And so, to leave y alone, we multiply by its reciprocal. Remember, the reciprocal is interchanging. So you multiply by its reciprocal. Look at that. Both sides by its reciprocal, 2 over 3. Are we together? And so, by 3, 1, by 3, 1, by 2, 1, by 2, 1. What are we left with? We are left with y. So, when we multiply 5 by 2, we get 10 over 3. Now, we cannot leave it that way again. We change it into a mixed fraction. Look at how we change it. 10 divided by 3. By 3 times because of 9. The difference is 1. 1 is the remainder. So 3 becomes the whole. The remainder becomes the numerator. And the divisor becomes the denominator. So the value of y here is going to be 3 and 1 over 3. 3 and 1 over 3. We can check it again because I can't see it on the choices. We go through it again. Let's go through it. Here we are 2y plus a half y plus 5 is equals to 10. Hope I wrote the correct thing. Now 5 goes to the other side, becomes a number with a minus. It's 2 over 5. Here is 2 over. Now let's read. That means we start again. Seriously? Start. Let's start from here. Sorry. For that, each 2 times 2 is 2, is 4 plus 1 is 5. So that is 5 over 2y is equals to 5. We multiply by its reciprocal. Yes. Times 2 over 5. Yes. By 5, 1, by 5, 1, by 2, 1, by 2, 1. Then by 5, 1, by 5, 1. So y gives us 2. Boys and girls, I believe 2 is in the choices now. So the answer is A. Sorry for the hitch, but that is the right way to do it. I hope you followed closely. Now let's go to question 15. What is the product of 3 over 4 and 5, 3 and a quarter and 5 and a half? Product means multiply. So we are multiplying 3 and a quarter by 5 and a half. Multiplication of mixed numbers. We change them into improper fractions. So that brings us to 13 over 4 multiplied by 11 over 2. Now, we make it one fraction, 13 times 11 over 4 times 2. What is 13 times 11? 13 times 11, we get 13 and 13. That is 3, that is 4, that is 1. So that brings us to 143 over 8. Then we change it into a mixed number. 143 divided by 8. 1, because of 8, we subtract and we have 6. We drop 3 into 63 is 7. 7 because of 56. And the difference here is 7. Right? So the answer becomes 17 and 7 over 8. That's the answer. 17 and 7 over 8. And the answer is here. Boys and girls, want to put more emphasis here that once you look, you see 5, it's a freestanding number, it crosses the equal sign, and it becomes a number with a minus. And we have 5 there, and we together. And then you follow the steps that we have done, and you come to the right answer. Boys and girls, we are going to continue with the revision of this paper and finish it before we do the next paper. And I'm so sure at the end of it all, you will have now begun to master mathematics. And the next paper you'll do it better. Thank you. It was nice having you.